Welcome everyone. So today in this video we will discuss about the remaining part of the chapter India and the World and India's relationship with many of the nations. So in the previous slides we had discussed about India and its objectives of foreign policy, how it has uh, forwarded its foreign policy objectives, and then also the factors affecting the foreign policy. And in the factors, we discussed about geographical, economic, and also political and other factors which had just affected the foreign policy in such a way that today India had itself carved a niche for itself in world politics. So now in the second part of this slideshow, in this presentation, we will discuss about India's relationship with Russia. So India and Russia had maintained a very cordial relation since past. Soviet Union was perhaps the most enduring relationship during Cold War period, and it had provided aid in the form of technology and low interest credit to India's heavy industrial projects in the public sector. So overall, we can say that Russia had provided India industry and industrial projects, and financially it has supported India in many aspects. The Friendship Treaty of 1971, that is, the Indo-Soviet Treaty, was a milestone in the bilateral relation. Russia agreed to provide reactors to India's Kundankulam project and sold its aircraft carrier Admiral Gorshkov, which was known as INS Vikramaditya. So when this one more thing which has affected the relation was that 1971 Friendship Treaty, so which has further strengthened India's relation with Russia, and also India's Kundankulam project, where it had sold its Russia had sold its aircraft carrier Admiral Gorskov, and which was renamed as INS Vikramaditya in India. The Chinese, now the next important country, very quickly we will discuss about India's relation with China. The Chinese Communist Revolution took place in 1949. India was among the first few countries to recognize People's Republic of China. So we know that China's relation with India had been constantly changing with time. So it was 1949 when the Communist Party of China and the Communist Revolution started. But since then, India has supported China in its Communist Revolution. The relation between India and China worsened after the 1950s, and one of the reasons was between the two border dispute in the Aksai Chin region of Ladakh and Nepal in Arunachal Pradesh. So India and China's relation overall was good previously in 1950s, but after the 1950s, the relation worsened because of the geographical dispute in the Aksai Chin region in Ladakh and the Nepal region in Arunachal Pradesh. Moving on, India as emerging power. So what were the things which made India an emerging power? So it's the second largest populated country and one of the largest economy besides being the largest democracy in the world. So apart from being the largest democracy, India is known in the world as also country with the second highest population. So we know that after China, India has the second highest population, and with time it has been able to make its place in the global regional organizations such as G20 and BRICS. Next, we will discuss about India's relation with its neighborhood. Now, when we say neighbors, we not only indicate Pakistan and China, but also all the South Asian nations with whom India had maintained a very cordial relation. So some of those countries are Myanmar, Indonesia, China, Japan, which are considered as India's neighbor. There had been tensions between India and Pakistan. The main cause of the tension is the status of Kashmir. The first Indo-Pak conflict took place in 47-48. So we all know that the main reason of conflict between India and Pakistan is the issue of Kashmir, and the first Indo-Pak conflict, which broke out in 1947 to 48, was the first instance where this issue started. Later, Pakistan's relations with China are also a matter of concern. The China-Pakistan economic corridor has been root of China's investment in Pakistan. So one more reason why Pakistan's relation is affected with India is that China-Pakistan's friendship in terms of economic relations, that is, China-Pakistan economic corridor has been a route to China's investment in Pakistan, thereby maintaining its friendly relations with Pakistan. China and Pakistan are developing conflictual relations with India. Next, we'll very quickly discuss about Myanmar. Sri Lanka were also part of British India. Both were countries welcome conveners with India. Pakistan and Indonesia at the Bandung Conference. Relations with Sri Lanka have experienced both good and bad phases. So relations with Sri Lanka, we had both good and bad phases. Bad phases in the sense we faced some problem related to fishermen on both sides and also some disputed maritime boundary, but later on those problems were solved. After the end of Cold War, the international relations in Asia began to take a different shape. The membership of the Association of the Southeast Asia began to take a different shape, and the membership of ASEAN enlarged from 5 to 10, and it became a formidable group in this region. So the ASEAN, after the end of Cold War, that is 1945, the world politics took a different turn, the forming of different regional organizations, and also one important was such as ASEAN, where its membership increased from 5 to 10 and it became a formidable group in this region. It is also a partner in our regional security such as ARF, that is Asian Regional Forum. So it was again a regional organization formed as an association of all the Asian countries. The next important aspect of this chapter is India and West Asia. So how India had relations with West Asian countries. Now when we say West Asia, basically the Gulf countries come within this rim. West Asia has always been an important region of India. Most of the crude oil, which has been crucial engine of growth in the economy, has been coming from the countries of this region. Relations with the nations like Iran, Saudi Arabia go beyond oil factors with more historical and religious factors. So we can say that more than oil relations, so export and import of crude oil, that were thereby strengthening the economy of India with the West Asian countries. But apart from that, we also had some cultural similarity. Day by day, our relations improved with the West Asian countries. India had openly supported the Viet Minh struggle and openly criticized America's invention in Vietnam. The two countries have developed their relations in terms of trade, technology, and military areas. In terms of Vietnam, India had also supported the Viet Minh struggle against American intervention, and also both India and Vietnam had developed relations in technology and military areas. Now we move to one more important continent, that is India and Africa. So how was India's relations with Africa? So since both the countries face same history, both were colonized. In the changing world order of 1990s, demand for energy security have to dominate the world today. Indian oil companies have invested in Africa to a large extent. Indian industries have started to take interest in Africa. Indian companies are likely to offer technological and material services in developing countries of Africa. So overall, Africa became a place for investment. So Indian oil companies have started investing in Africa, and also Indian companies had offered technological and material services to developing countries of Africa. Since Africa being also a developing continent, India has supported Africa to a large extent in terms of economy. The other new concern is about Indian diaspora, which is approximately 2 million people in Eastern and Southern Africa. There is also a concern of peace and security of the Indian Ocean area. The increasing cases of piracy in the Somalian waters have made this region sensitive in Indian concern. So one more reason why India and Africa's relation is improved is because of the Indian diaspora, that is Indian people living in Africa. And there is also a matter of peace and security in the Indian Ocean area. The increasing cases of piracy in Somalian waters. So Somalia is a country in Africa which is connecting to the Indian Ocean region, and so the increasing rates of piracy, increasing rates of this kind of waterways disputes have led India to more concentrate and focus to maintain the relations between India and Africa. Next, the next topic which we'll discuss is an Indian Ocean region. So now what is the Indian Ocean region? So the Indian Ocean region is basically the area which surrounds the Indian Ocean overall, thereby connecting to many South Asian countries, Middle East and Central Asian countries. So the Indian Ocean is one of the busiest and most critical maritime transportation links in the world. The Indian coastline presents both an opportunity and challenge to India in terms of foreign security and perspective. So Indian Ocean region is one of the busiest and critical maritime transportation. So why it is busiest? Since it becomes the way of connectivity to different nations. Since import and export are done through ship routes, so Indian Ocean becomes one of the busiest routes, but at the same time, it's an opportunity and challenge for India. Opportunity in the sense that economically import and export, we are able to bring imports to other countries, we are able to export to other countries, which is definitely a boost to our economy. But at the same time, it's a challenge. Why it's a challenge? Because of security perspective. Because of increasing piracy in waters or increasing, some kind of terrorism activity even in the waterways have led to some kind of challenges to Indian maritime security. And thereby, it's a responsibility of the Indian government to provide Coast Guard forces and also the Indian naval forces along the borderline so that we can face these challenges in the waterways. It's an opportunity for the enormous ocean wealth it provides in terms of fishery, minerals, oils, etc. It is a challenge as it opens up India's border for free entry and exit for a variety of activities that can be detrimental for India's security. So as I already mentioned, so it's an opportunity because economically it's profitable, a lot of resources are there, fishery, minerals, oil, and it is a challenge because it opens up border, free entry and exit for many other activities, which is also threatening for the Indian Ocean region. So that's all for the discussion. Thank you.